the opportunities. I'm the program director at the Connected Places Catapult. I'm also as a fellow of the Institute of Engineering Technologies and also adjunct professor for Southampton University to support research and technology to commercialize and become realized. But for those of you who don't know us, Connected Places Catapult is a research and technology organization which is part funded by the UK government. We have a mission to accelerate innovation for city transport and place leadership. We work with cities across the UK and around the world in places such as Latin America, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. I'm here from London, where the temperature in the summer over 40 degrees, but in the winter it's extremely cold in our country history. This caused unprecedented weather and challenge to our country, and this is just some of the example of the way in which the world is changing. Yes, my specialty is in mobility, and I look at all sorts of area of transportations improvement. That's including from the use of drones and aviations and how we improve decarbonizations in the airport, and also then start to look into maritime on port improvement and how the maritime sectors achieve decarbonizations and digitalizations. At the same time, come back more importantly, reference to this conference, that we look at like the challenge of introductions of electric vehicles and how alternative energy sources supporting a new mode of transport on the road, as well as autonomous vehicles and the implications to how we work, live and travel. Yes, I mean, in the UK, I have the privilege of been working between the government and industry on a number of initiatives. As we all know, the popularity of the electric vehicles is on the increase, but so too is the demand of the public charging points for electric vehicles. The UK government have pleaded to have 300,000 of them by 2030. And we have been looking at where should they be and how they will work, such as what will be the balance between the use of home, on the street, and destination charging points, such as those in the car park. How can people be encouraged to use the destination charging? So we have been working with industry and academia, looking at the situation in great depth, how the fee are being collected, the commercial benefit and attractions to the organizations, faster charging points, and also we have been working with university and spin-out company to look at how AI can support where the deployment and the demand of the charging point. Further on to that, there's only so much charging point and electricity on the grid. So we have been looking at in also adjacent market and area. So in the last year or so, we've been working supporting the government industry and rolling out a program called Zero Emission Road Freight Demonstrator Program, £200 million from the government to launch the world's largest fleet of zero emission heavy goods vehicles, with match funding from the industry, accelerating plans to decarbonizing the road freight, and how we plan to eliminate the fossil fuels for heavy goods vehicles voltage with the mix of battery electrics and hydrogen fuel solutions. In parallel to that, we're also thinking about how the infrastructure can get ready of the shiny new vehicles, heavy goods vehicle or airport. So we have launched a program in the last 2 years called Zero Emission Flight Infrastructure in preparation for UK airport for zero emission aircraft, exploring the impact and requirement for refueling infrastructure to introduce hydrogen and electric aircraft into airport and airfield. So last year, we have the first of its kind in the UK to focusing on the zero emission flight infrastructure to support all UK airport and airfield in the technology development. We have the first of its kind in the UK on looking at how testing out how electric aircraft being solar charged and take off and land. We have looking at how hydrogen pipeline refueling infrastructure can be working across between the ground side and to the air side. And also been looking at high pressure refueling in an airport environment. And at the same time, we are currently working at the demand, how it's being scaled up, and the cost to support the investment case for both airports, logistic hub, or in the maritime port sector, as well as the road service station. Yes, I mean, that's a very good question. Firstly, mobility and the need to transition to cleaner and more inclusive options. Cities are creating multimodal solutions that span the transitions to electric vehicles, trucks, seamless public transport, and micromobility. And similarly, across the world, places like India and Indonesia are working on two-wheels battery supply chain development, and in Brazil, improving access to and customer satisfaction with bus rapid transit line. Creating this type of multimodal e-mobility suggests that cities need to create more horizontal between their departments, which leads me to a second point, data and integrations. I mean, cities of today are trying to create fully integrated systems to improve efficiency and services provision to meet the increasing demand for places point them. However, cities and places often have too much data or the wrong data, not understanding the type of data or the way in which it can be used to drive policy and development innovative solutions can often inhibit the pace of change. I mean, one example of how data can be used to drive a carbon reduction agenda is land use planning as well. Data integration provides an opportunity to change the way we plan, design, and manage our places, and could lead to the following benefit. The demand and stress placed on the grid, where the charging point and infrastructure to support the demand, and the clarity of trade-off and co-benefit of interventions. Efficiency in the way of working. Especially in Africa, some of the places are either very dense and some of the places are so rural. But even with the right data, places lack the capacity and funding to scale and replicate sustainable investable proposition for net zero. Which brings to my last point, who can pay and who should pay? I mean, you've got people adopting the electric vehicle, obviously buying the vehicle itself, but the infrastructure to support this with the demand, the grid, and not charging time, not enough charging time may not be capable to support the e-mobility. And we also need to think about alternative energy sources. But this is a lot, it's about the continent. The context is different in South Africa. I can also see the advantages in Africa. I mean, the sun, the wind increases the opportunity for green energy production, lend itself well to microgrids. On the other side, there are significant challenges with the ability of the grid to manage an increase in EV and dependency on electric for transit. I mean, that is why UK, we're looking at alternative energy such as hydrogen along the way. There is a lot we need to do about collaborations between countries. I don't think anyone in the world can work on this agenda alone. I mean, how we can support the green economic zones and the just energy transition partnership, I think is crucial of how we can work together. While we are looking at the increase in EV and hydrogens vehicles, we need to look at the scalability of it, looking at the current grid limitations, the microgrid solutions, alternative act like the fossil fuel, like hydrogen or refueling stuff, I think that is fundamental of how we improve the world in the future. And the use of data and technology to integrate and communicate. One of the key point is, I think, is cross-modal collaborations. We always think about how we improve and decarbonize in certain mode of transport, like here we talk about adoption of electric vehicles. But I think fundamentally, the key questions we need to ask, how we utilize the cross-modal to improve the movement of people and goods. Because we are driven by commercial demand of like producing more vehicles, cleaner, more people buying, but fundamentally is how people and goods can move more efficiently, effectively, and across different modal. How can we optimize the existing and new infrastructure? One of the key points I've been pushing quite a lot in UK at the moment, how we do the scalability of it. There is like domestic adoption at scale, but also more importantly is transport hubs such as airport, maritime shipping ports, railway stations, and logistic hub. They can play a key role of where the most heavy, complex vehicles are going in and out, and we transition this transport hub become an energy hub that can support all these most polluted vehicles in a greener, newer way. For the summit in Africa, I'm so looking forward to it. I see that the point is working with all the experts internationally and locally in Africa to understand the opportunity of the e-mobility around us, to understand the key characteristic of different countries, different cities, different places have different challenge to the deployment of e-mobility, but that creates such a big commercial opportunity by us working together, understanding the infrastructure and the consideration of alternative energy source, and how we can work together to influence the adoption of it through pushing the understanding of policy, what required by the regulations, the different culture, and changes the different way of working that imply of what the e-mobility should be worked around how we live and work. A strong collaboration between the two countries and internationally, looking at cross-modal integrations and transition planning that ensuring the minimum disruption to us, but rather providing us a growth and opportunity in the future.